Hey, Icarus here. Just gonna go through Act 10 and the early epilogue such Atlas, which will probably be the last of my um, specific area guides. So in Act 10, the dangerous potential thing is Valenta. So I don't do her. I skip her. This is pretty widely considered good practice in Gauntlet to not do her until later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to level up through the Atlas for a while, and I'll come back when I'm like level 77 maybe, where she's, 10 levels below me. She ought to be safe, but she's quite dangerous because she has a lot of projectiles and a lot of hard-hitting things, so just, it's good to delay her, I think. Otherwise, besides that, Act 10 isn't particularly bad because Kitava's not hard. He's like, he's Act 10 Kitava. He's easier than Act 5 Kitava, except for he has a flame breath, so all I would say is, don't be shy about logging out if he does the flame breath on you. You don't need to make sure your mechanics are perfect. Just, you can always run back and do it in another run. But Act 10, not too bad. I would skip Valenta. That's what I'm doing. I'll come back to it in a bit. And then for the epilogue, we're in the Atlas. I've just done a few of the early maps here. And I'm sticking to just the very low tier maps. My gear is terrible, so I'll just show you how bad it is real quick so you can see why I'm sticking around. Like, arguably my best item, and it only has one useful role besides the physical spell gem. Some life, some life. I'm still on this eye level 3 thing. Terrible ring. A little bit of life, but a bad ring, really. This is sort of okay. It's just a 4 link, though, which is what I'm on. Had to go to the Magnate to get my resist balanced. Very mediocre gloves and really poor greaves. So, like, literally every piece of my gear needs to be upgraded, so I'll be sticking in low tier maps while I do that. So, once you're in the Atlas, one thing to do is just keep stuff of a reasonable eye level for where you're at, and then when you get to harvest and you get some of the seeds, just, quickly harvest, spam on whatever you want. So, I have a relatively reasonable eye level, just 69. It's the level of maps that I'm doing, and so when I get to harvest, I'll go ding, 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 just try and hit something. Same deal with the spirit shield, which is actually what I'm focusing on. I'm trying to get, an upgrade to this so I can get a life roll or something to go with a +1. And anything I hit that's fire, lightning, or fizz would do it. I just haven't hit it all game, which is surprising, but that's okay. So we'll just, throw things from harvest on it. And I'm going to do the same thing with belt, shoes thing. That's just very generic. So speaking quickly about Atlas strategy. So I think this is a ridiculously hard gauntlet. And the only way I can see it being cleared is if someone gets really, really good gear. Like Hail Mary good gear. And our Hail Mary is called Militant Faith with the Transcendence passive. I'm not going to get into all of that immediately. I'll have a longer video on it. But I think if we can get the Transcendence Keystoned Militant Faith, and really what I'm saying is if you can get a Militant Faith, because then you can throw Divine Orbs on it, you should be able to achieve a really, really tanky character. So what I'm going to do for this Atlas tree is first I'm going to come up, I'm going to grab all the map stuff, that's normal, and then I'm going to come up and start getting Legion things. So specifically this area, I'm going to come up here, I'm going to tag Templar, because that's what we need. I'm going to get Emblematic, I'll go around, I'll take all this. So here's some of the other ones I can come down and take. I can come down and take here. So I'm going to take all the Legion stuff. And the other thing I will do as I have more is I'll go up and I'll do the same strong box thing as I recommend normally. Specifically the div card one, which is also what I recommend normally. But what we're going to do is the garden map and the courtyard map can drop a div card called Timeless, or not Time, Precious Moments. Peaceful Moments. It's called Peaceful Moments. And when you trade that in, you get a historic jewel, any of the 5. It's random. So we're going to use that to help get more chances to get that particular historic jewel. So that's basically my whole Hail Mary strategy for the Atlas, is to get one of those, and then I think that we can potentially have a reasonable shot at clearing the whole thing. Um, I will get further into that later, but it's going to be that, and then paired with lore weave, just normal defensive stuff as far as how that works. But again, I'll get more into that in a separate video. But for the Atlas strategy, that's what I'm going for. I'm going to be doing Legion and Strong boxes, and then on a baseline maps, of course. Be really careful. There's no reason to push. 10 days is a long time. Work your way into the Atlas, do these low tier maps, don't be alking them, just do the normal magic maps, if even that, there's nothing wrong with doing a white map if you even feel scared to put even one single modifier on it, that's fine. Just ease your way in, get your gear ready, don't be too anxious about it taking a long time, and just continue your push through the Atlas. It's going to be a real achievement for anyone, I really mean that, to hit level 90 this league. That's going to be difficult. So if you get to the Atlas, take your time, make sure you get there, as that's when you can get access to like the draw for the $2,000 and a lot of the other things. So that's my recommendation for us for Act 10 the Atlas. Like I said, when I get to Route level 77, I'm level 75 now, I'll go back and I'll kill Valenta. I will delay on the final Eternal Lab. I probably won't do that until I'm level 80. I want to be above the level of the area by a comfortable margin. I'll just show you the passive tree for where I'm at right now. So when I get the Volatical Storm's Embrace, that's when I take Call to Arms, and then I can just, as I'm moving around, it's instant, so it doesn't interrupt me. I can just cast my Infernal Cry, which applies the Covered in Ash debuff to my enemies, and then also generates these endurance charges. So one thing I've been lazy about, because damage is not the issue here, we're very over leveled, what we need is better gear, is really I shouldn't be on Molten Shell. I should replace this with Immortal Call so that I'm yelling away an endurance charge every so often, and then that will proc the Volatile's Embrace, where I do more damage when endurance charge is gone. But damage is very much not the issue. It's not going to be the issue on this build, and it's not going to be the issue for basically anyone in this gauntlet, because the issue is the incoming damage, not the damage we're putting out. That's going to be the limiting factor. So my next skill points are just going to be more defensive type things. This is what I've taken so far. I'll probably get some block here since I'm on a shield right now. If I were on a staff, I could come up and get these nodes, but I'm not. That is another thing to note. Just when I'm running around, the things that I'm identifying are any staff looking for +2 or +3. Really, I'd probably want to hit +3 to leave the shield behind on this, because I do like being able to have Tempest Shield. But a +3 staff I would probably do it for. Starting at level 75, level 75, amulets can have a roll of +1 to various like fire, cold, lightning, fizz, just like these things can have. So once we get that, that would be a nice thing to hit. But we're really not too anxious about damage. Like I said, the limiting factor is safety. So like I said, I'll probably go through, get these block nodes. There is some more stuff. I could go here, and then go to those block nodes as well. That would seem very reasonable to me. There's not any particular cluster jewel that we're super farming. Obviously if you get the lowest number of notables on a fire cluster jewel, then that could be reasonable, and then putting in like armor or life small cluster jewels after that or something. But we're not super anxious about any of that. That's pretty much where the character's at. Obviously, I have more in-depth guides on developing a Wave of Conviction character, and I'm going to do a specific Gauntlet as well. I'll also be taking this node. I don't feel like we're in any hurry at all to add the Righteous Fire aspect of this build. We simply don't need the damage. It's all about survivability. I'd rather have really high life gen than kind of reasonable life gen, but not amazing, and a bit more damage, because that's what we need. Okay, that's it for me. I will catch you guys in probably a long form video just recapping everything, and then also one specifically about potential variations to the Gauntlet based on what's dropping for you. For example, there's some things I would respec into, like a Brutus Lead Sprinkler. There's some builds that I think are better than Wave of Conviction if that drops, but that's a relatively rare drop. So this is my default build, and I will talk to you later.